Linda.
Oh, Michelle, nice to officially meet you.
Likewise.
When would you want to get this process started?
I know, right? I've been trying to get this place put together for years. Let me give you a tour. Let's have a drink. Come on, you know you want one.
I feel terrible. How can I make that up to you?
We could watch a movie.
What?
What happened? I get it. Why would you want to hang out with a weirdo like me?
I'm sorry, but I really have to go.
I don't think so. I can't let you leave if you're angry at me.
I think you're having some kind of breakdown.
What?
Why are you doing this to me?
You're just like everyone else. I'm gonna break your goddamn neck! I told you, I'm fun.
That's good.
So I finished watching the movie late last week, and
okay.
At first I wasn't sure what to think. I was kind of like, okay, what's this going to be? Is this going to be kind of just like a kooky thing, a couple misunderstandings, and maybe, just a little bit of comic hijinks, and then at the end I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, we kind of pack it all in there. It starts one way, it's like 3 genres in one, I think.
So how did this whole thing come about? How did this all just become what it is?
Yeah, well, Zach and I have been collaborating together for like 7 years now, and he edited a short film I did called Chinatown, and he did such a good job that then we started shooting some sketch videos that was on Funny or Die, and I wanted to make a feature film. That was my goal for 2018, and Zach and Alex had been friends for years, and Alex and I had wanted to collaborate together. So when Zach pitched me, he had like just an idea. He's like, there's this idea for this movie. It's about 2 women, and it takes place in one house, and there's a sledgehammer. And I was like, perfect, because I'm renovating my kitchen. I was planning on, and we could shoot it in my house and one location. And so that's how the initial thing started. And Zach, Alex, and I put all the story beats together, and we were all in LA because that's where Alex lives, and I was in LA doing Celebrity Feud with my family, which was another crazy story. But we met at my parents' house, and we did all the story beats in February. And then Zach and I had a pretty sharp deadline because I had my house available for like the last 2 weeks of June. So we just, met twice a week and wrote the screenplay and sent versions back to Alex. And, we kind of wrote it with this idea that we would, Cassavetes it and have a lot of improv and be really loose. And then we very quickly found out, because we got this great camera package, but that it was more technical than we realized. So we kind of had to just stick to the script and so we could finish our days. And that's how it came about. That was kind of the long-winded version of it.
having to film in such a confined location and doing so many action scenes, how strenuous was that?
Yeah, it was. It was hot and it was uncomfortable, but it was okay. The great thing was our crew was very small. Like, we literally had Delaney, Zach, Amanda, and Bridget, the sound woman, and me and Alex mostly. Like, that was it. It was because we really couldn't have any space for more people. So that was great. It just meant that it was a lot of work for all of us. And then, my house is one of those narrow Toronto houses. So, our fight scenes are pretty like in the hallway, and, it was a little bit of a task, especially like Alex falling down the stairs without hurting herself. And we used like a futon. I mean, we had a great stunt coordinator, Sarah Murphy Dyson, but we could afford her initially, and then by the end of the movie, we just were kind of figuring it out ourselves. But she got us great head start, and it was challenging. It was hard.
Were all the big falls and all the more graphic parts of the violence, were those pre-planned in the script, or was that just more as it went along, seeing what you can do in that space?
I think they were pretty, I mean, a combination of both, because we did most of the writing in the actual house, which was really fun and made it really easy for us to sort of do the action sequences. So, we thought it would just be funny and to use like a little kid's umbrella, the carpet, my coats, curling irons. We tried to, use all of the things that I would have in my home as Linda to sort of be props for the scenes, for the action scenes. So I would say it was maybe 75% planned.
As far as the character of Linda goes, how did you get into the headspace of this woman who's, I wouldn't say she's crazy. I think she just really wants something and she doesn't want to give it up. So I wouldn't say she's crazy in any sense, but to get in that headspace of a woman that's willing to kind of go down this road without a plan of trapping a woman and doing something. I got the feeling she wasn't quite sure where she was going to go with this, but how do you get in that headspace? Because that woman is just terrifying.
I know people keep asking me that, and I wish I was like, oh, well, I meditated on it. Honestly, it was, I used the parts of myself, and it was actually really fun to sort of go to the edge, if you know what I mean. And so, I don't get a lot of opportunity, being my age and looking like I am, to get to play that kind of character. So for me, it was like I felt like a kid in a playground getting to sort of, chew up the scenery a little bit. And really, I didn't have a lot of time to think about it because we were on such a tight schedule and because I was wearing so many hats. So I think I just instinctively kind of jumped in and kind of went with it. And the headband and the outfit helped me a lot. And Alex was a really fun acting partner. I think that really helped me keep it grounded, if you know what I mean. And so I could really connect with her. And that was really fun. And it was really, actually, it was a joyful creative experience.
Did you and Alex kind of keep yourself separated during the production so you can keep that level of foreignness and strangeness between the two characters alive?
No, no, we didn't know each other well, which I think was actually helpful. I think we went, like when she came a couple days early, we had to do some like pre-production stuff. We shopped for our wardrobe. We got manicure pedicures together. We had dinner together. And then she ended up staying at my place where we were shooting most of the time. So we ended up really bonding and, helping each other with self-tapes because of course we got, auditions. And so actually we became closer over the shoot. And I think that makes it easier to take chances as an actor because you feel like you trust the other person. Even if you're playing like the opposite, I think that for me anyway, if I feel like safe and I feel like the other person has my back, then I can really take risks.
Towards the end of the film, I don't want to try to give too much away, but towards the end, things get more and more brutal. Was there ever a point where you're thinking maybe this is going a little too far with the violence, or was this is what it needs to be to make it believable?
We kind of work backwards, and it's a really great question because it's not my I think that's where you see the Zach and the collaboration, because, my instinct is to, do the humor and to keep it real, and not real, but you know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe. And then, but Zach came to the movie with those things sketched out. Like this action is going to happen. This is the weapon. It's going to be on the wall, and that this is what's going to happen at the end of the movie. So we kind of had to which was fun for me looking back, because I had to create a character or a circumstance that brought us to that level at the end. Or I hoped it did. It was a little bit shocking to me, and it was crazy doing it, but it was also fun because it was, in the spirit of all those great Roger Corman or whatever happened to Baby Jane. I mean, they don't get that violent, but in that kind of spirit, I felt like it works.
Is there an actual real victim in this story? Because it seems everyone has something they've done that kind of edges towards maybe they deserve a little bit of this, but is there a clear defined victim, and is there a clear defined villain?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I think the only real villain is actually the husband.
Yeah, exactly. But even he has he's trying his best. I think that's why we really wanted to make it that sort of nuanced. So, I mean, those are the best kind of villains, right? The ones that you kind of side with sometimes, or you get their point of view. So I think that makes it fun to sort of, I keep hearing people, I felt sorry for her. I was oddly empathetic for Linda, even though I was doing all these horrible out of this world stuff. But yeah, I don't think it's like life. No one's one or the other.
When you saw the film,
except for Donald Trump. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
When you saw the film finish, the final cut and everything, what were your feelings as you watched it unfold on screen?
Yeah, early. I mean, it was pretty. I've never done a role this big. First of all, on film. I mean, I've done plays and theater and stuff, but on film, this was my biggest role I've ever done. So that was a shock to my system. So after I got over that, I was pleasantly surprised at how nice it looked, because that was free in terms of budget. So thank you, Delaney, especially, as a woman over 40, that's always a fear. So those are just two things that I initially felt. And then it was delightful. It was so fun. It was the feeling for me, it was the feeling I got making this movie was the exhilaration I used to have when I was a kid, when you play really hard, you have a good game. So that's how I felt. And then to see it, and to see it on the screen, it was very exciting and mildly terrifying, and also weirdly intimate. I was like, oh God. Oh God. But I think that's good feedback. I don't know.
Would you want to do something that's on that level of intimacy and confinement again?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I would like to try something. I don't want to do Homewrecker 2. I'd like to.
It'd be kind of hard.
Yeah, exactly. My mom is like, you could do a sequel. She could just wake up from the dead. Just have a big scar, with half a head bashed in. No spoilers, but I would. I loved it. I love working this way. I find it really gratifying and fun, and it feels risky, which I like. I miss that. I like that feeling. I mean, I hate it and I like it.
Since you're in more of a unique position, starring in this film, and your position in Hollywood, what would you say to those that are looking to make that jump into Hollywood, either moving out there and getting started in film or theater, when all this craziness is over, sometime in like 5 years, when everything is normal again? What would be your advice to those budding stars?
I know. I love that. I always wish I'd taken some advice. Like, I think it's like, be open to people's feedback. Like, listen to people when they say, hey, you should maybe take a improv class, or why don't you try stand up, or, be open. Try not to be too rigid about what you think your career is going to look like, and just be open to things, and then it will help your path be more graceful, I think. And then, don't wait for permission to do your art. So, like, especially nowadays, you can really do it in so many different ways. So start now, like, just start writing, start finding collaborators, start creating. And then when if you go out to Hollywood, it's so overwhelming. I think a lot of times people just finding a class with people who are like you, finding your kind of tribe helps it feel less scary. And I think I'm talking a lot, but why not? I think that sometimes, I live in Toronto now, and it's great in some ways, and I miss LA a lot in some ways. The thing with LA, I feel like sometimes you can get into the trap of like waiting to be discovered, or booking that pilot, or something like that, to sort of make you, have that expectation, because it could happen around the corner. But as an artist, as a creative person, that can be a trap. And like the Duplass brothers are a great example of that, like a great example of just creating your own opportunities. And so that's what I would say in a very long-winded way.
Oh no, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I really enjoyed the film.
Oh, I'm glad.
It was recommended to me before I had a chance to set up an interview. So it was recommended by another YouTuber, Brad Jones.
Oh, cool.
It was a very positive interview. He usually watches like really bad movies. So when you see a movie like this come about, and you're like, okay, how's he going to tear it apart? And then he had this glowing review, and I was like, wow, that's a change.
Oh, that's nice. Well, I thank you so much, because it's you guys that will help make this movie like reach the viewers, because it's such like a grassroots kind of bare bones production. So I really appreciate it.
Yep, it came out on July 10th on video or on demand and streaming. But is it going to have a physical release? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think there's a possibility of that, depending on if the theater's open in the summer, maybe later in the summer.